Hey, what's going on? My name is Andy Monroe, the co-founder of Bullish Events. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to 10x the value of your in-person events. And when I say the value, I mean the value that your attendees are receiving. And the reason this is so important, I'm making an entire video on this, is because the more value that your attendees get, the better experience they'll have. And the better experience they have, the more money you will make with your in-person events. So with all that being said, let's jump right into it. Now, talking about marketing, selling, monetization, LTV renewals, etc. All that stuff is super flashy when it comes to in-person events. But what's way more important is how you actually design the experience for the attendee, because you can have the best marketing campaign, you can have the best funnel, you can have the best email sequences, you can have the best pitch, the best offer, you can have the best venue, whatever it is. You can have all these amazing things, but if the experience sucks, if the experience wasn't designed properly for the attendees, where it's actually solving their problems, actually giving them progress, actually giving them just like a transformational experience, none of it will matter. And it's important to understand how you can design your events to be the most experiential and the highest value possible for your attendees. And how exactly do we do this? How do we design our events to be the best experience possible for our attendees? And the way that we do that is by collecting data from them. But how exactly do we collect data from our attendees before the event? Well, there are a few strategies that we like to deploy. The first is applications. Now, applications don't work for every single event. It doesn't always make sense to have an application in place. And when we use applications, it usually means somebody is applying to be able to attend the event. So we're actually running this model with a client right now where the event has 30 spots and it's a pretty exclusive event. We want everybody in the room to be a pretty high quality individual, like they're running a business, they're making money, they have an offer, because the content and the experience is designed for that person. It wouldn't be very valuable for somebody who doesn't have an offer, doesn't have a business ready, to be in that room, because the stuff's going to be a little bit more advanced. It's not just like, getting off the ground. It's like how to scale your business. So that's why having applications in place is important, is because it really allows you to like laser in on who exactly is going to be in the room, which then allows you to design a better experience for them. But applications are a great way to collect data on your attendees, because of course you're going to design the questions in a way to understand if they are a right fit for your experience. Then after that, we have intake surveys, and we usually do intake surveys on most events, and this takes place after somebody buys a ticket to the event and is in that limbo period before the event takes place. And I'm going to dive into actually what you want to collect on these intake surveys. They shouldn't be too in depth, that you can go pretty into the weeds, but it's easy to ask the right questions and get the right data without making your attendee take a 30-minute intake quiz, for example. So intake surveys are valuable. Onboarding calls are amazing. We do this usually when it's a very intimate event. Of course, we're not going to take onboarding calls with like 250 attendees, but going back to that same client we're working with right now for the applications, there's 30 attendees, and we're going to be doing onboarding calls with every single one of those attendees. Then finally, event surveys. And when I say event survey, I mean the survey that is given out at the event, usually towards the end, so that you can collect data from the attendees on how they enjoyed the experience. And the reason this is valuable for creating a good experience for your attendees is because you get to learn how the experience was, what their perspective was, what they liked, what they didn't like, and you can use that data to improve your future events. And whether you're doing applications, intake surveys, onboarding calls, event surveys, all the above, just a few, you're looking to get some of this information. So up first is your current situation. And when I say current situation, that's just where they are right now, what's going well, what's not going well, what are the pain points associated with it, just like a clear picture of what their reality looks like in the moment before the event. And then the desired outcome. And this will be a little different than the end result we're going to talk about later, but get a clear picture of the desired outcome, like what they're working towards. They have their current situation. Why are they starting their business? What are their goals? What are they striving for? What is that desired outcome they're chasing? It's good to get a good picture of that. Another one is why they are attending the event. People have a lot of different objectives for attending events. Maybe it's meeting people, maybe it's working on their business, solving a problem, scaling their business, changing their business idea, whatever it is. It's a good idea to get their why for attending the event. Up next is what problems they want solved at the event. It's a really good idea to just to understand exactly what problems your attendees want to have solved at the event, because if you have a bunch of overlapping problems, if we have 30 attendees and 20 of them have the same problem, we should probably have a breakout or an activity or a workshop designed around that problem. Who they're looking to meet. This is actually a really cool one. People go to events obviously to meet people. It's a very powerful part of events. events is like the network and the people in the room and who you can shake hands with and future partners, future friends. You never know where a relationship could take you. And it's good to understand who these people want to meet. And what you can do is you can collect all this data and find a way to facilitate these connections at the event or even before the event. Next is what would make the event a home run for them. Some of these questions might seem a little repetitive, but it's just good to get all of this data so that there's no questions, there's no open loops. Their current situation, desired outcome, why they're attending, what their problems are, what they want solved, what problems they want solved, who they're looking to meet, what would make the event a home run, and then what they want their life and business to look like at the end of the event. So this is different than the desired outcome. These two should be more holistic in general. It's like what's their current situation, then what's their desired outcome they're chasing right now. That desired outcome probably isn't the same desired outcome that they're looking to get out of the event. That one's it's much closer. It's like right there. Desired outcome is probably much more in the future. But what they want their life and business to look like it's close. It's going to be at the end of the event. And by collecting this data, it really allows you to design an amazing transformational experience for your attendees. This is what we're all about these days. The era of surface level events where people just get up and talk about high level topics. They don't really dive into the weeds. There's no implementation. It's just, a bunch of fluff. Those days are completely over. We've shifted our entire event philosophy to transformation, like taking our attendees on a journey, solving their problems, making progress in their lives. And that's where we think the future is headed. That's where we think the puck is going for the events industry. And the best way to do that is by collecting all this data from your attendees so that you aren't guessing. That's one mistake we made early on in our events career, is we would always just try to assume what people wanted to know or what problems people wanted solved at events. We would guess, or we would even design the event for us, like what we would want. And we learned very quickly that what we want doesn't always align with what the attendees want. So it's important to just collect as much data as possible before the event so that you aren't guessing when you're designing your experiences. And last thing I'll do is I'll let you in on a little secret, and that is the more you invest in the attendee experience, the more money you will make. We've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing events, both virtual and in person, for over 5 years at this point. And whenever we spend more time on designing an amazing attendee experience and paying attention to their pain points, their problems, being very, very intentional with the experience that we're designing, we see a much higher ROI on the back end. So thank you so much for watching. That is how you can 10x the value of your in-person events. Just collect data, just ask people, just talk to your attendees. You don't have to do it by yourself. You can talk to the people that you're building the experience for, and you'll have so many breakthroughs, and you'll have an amazing time designing the event because it won't be so hard. You'll just know exactly what to do because your attendees told you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.